Where did you think it went wrong for you guys tonight?
Well, I mean, obviously the first half. You know, unfortunately, we played at their pace. Give them credit for, you know, how they came out and their energy to start the game. And you expect that at home and with a big crowd and everything that's going on here today. And you know, you could feel the energy. Unfortunately, I thought that, you know, the Adelaide 36er pace and what the Sydney Kings want to try to do are two different paces. And we played at their pace. They got us sped up a little bit, and then 10 turnovers were the result of that. So, you know, the 10 turnovers in the first half, right every time where I thought we were starting to get our feet under us a little bit, obviously there was a big play and a run out and a three. And you give Craig a ton of credit for making those threes and doing those things. And obviously we had a lot of attention on KD, and they had a lot of attention on Bryce. So, you know, back and forth, and that's when your other players make plays. And, you know, we played the second half at our pace. You know, we won the second half. There's little consolation to that, but, you know, that was more 36er basketball. Unfortunately, it was a little too late. But, you know, I thought there's some really, really good signs when you win the second half. You only have 3 turnovers the second half. You're able to do some different things with some different lineups. You know, we're evolving right now in the last 8 games of the year because of John Jenkins. And, you know, super, super positive. We now are shooting in the mid-30, you know, in 30s in three-point attempts. The last 2 games were 17 of 34. You know, we've been the best percentage shooting team in the league this year, but we've also been like the lowest amount of attempts, and that's a bad math equation, right? So us balancing that, I mean, you know, John's basically flew from Romania to Perth to Adelaide to Auckland and now Sydney, and he goes 26 and 5. You know, 20.6 rebound, 5 assists. There's a lot of really, really good things there that we'll be able to drill into and sort of still sync up. You can see at times he's not quite sure what we're in on both sides of the ball, to be honest with you. He's looking over at me with the wide-eyed look, and I'm like, uh-oh. So there's a lot of things that we're still trying to cover on the fly with him. But there's a lot of really good things there. I thought, you know, the 17 of 34 from 3 is good. The 17 of 35 from 2 is bad. And that's not a great formula for winning.
What about defensively? Obviously, you just talked about John, and you know it's going to be still you're in that adjustment period, aren't you? And as you mentioned, you're evolving. Defensively, is that going to be kind of a process with working him into the system and then working out your rotations and what's best for you and what's most effective for you? Because earlier, you know, in the season, obviously, he's a different player to Troy. Doesn't have the size on the wing, but you know, how do you work through that, and how will that evolve for you?
The really short answer is yes. You know, it's a different thing. It's kind of been a season of thirds for us, to be honest with you. The first third of the year, we were able to play a certain way on both sides of the ball. And then we added Troy in kind of the middle third. And that looked really interesting on the defensive side, offensive side, where we started to creep up and do some different things defensively. And now we're in this back third of, you know, a really, really good season with a really good record, and yet we're kind of changing. And it's kind of an interesting deal for us because in this trip, we just don't have a lot of practice time. So, you know, like today, I had to, you know, we flew in here yesterday and we did a walkthrough in the ballroom, and that's part of being a professional. And you're trying to do some different things and explain how Kendrick Davis is going to play to John, and, you know, trying to get him up to speed with everybody else that's out there on the floor. But yeah, you're trying to kind of mix and match a little bit. I have a feel for John in a different team setting with USA Basketball, and I'm trying to blend him with what I think here. And, you know, there's teams in this league that really want to play big and are powerful, and then there's teams in this league that are now spreading the floor and playing 5 out, and that's a different thing too. And I think, fortunately, the reason we have the record that we do, we've been able to play both ways. That versatility allows me in one hand to have a lot of different ways to go. But right now, I'm trying to figure out if I like the two bigs, if I like a big and a hybrid, do I like a big and a small, who is the small, and then how those guys play and how they operate on the defensive end is maybe more important than the offensive end, because they really can figure out, like John's just figuring out the offense, so we've got a little ways to go. We will kind of recuperate here really quickly, and try to, shift our gears, take a moment to take a breath here, and then get organized. And we know what kind of opponent we'll have up there at the Gold Coast with Brisbane.
Yeah, and just following on from
Yep.
that, the bigs rotation.
Yeah.
Still kind of trying to work that out with Ison, who was outstanding again tonight. And
Yeah.
Nick maybe not so effective, and obviously, it hurt you when Zylan went out with the 5 fouls. But
Yeah.
again, that's kind of a bit of a work in progress for you, isn't
Yeah,
it?
we-
Figuring that out.
Yeah, we tried to do, obviously Kendrick Davis has had a heck of a year, and he is the guy that makes things go. So you want to give that situation all the proper attention, the same way that they gave attention to Bryce. They have a practice yesterday. I have a walkthrough in the ballroom. And then how we operate behind that with the big and who the big is involved. They only probably played, and I mean Sydney, probably only played a couple of minutes with two bigs. They started small. They stayed small. They wanted the floor spread. So, Zylan is this sort of hybrid that can play big and play small for me. And we're trying to figure that little combination out, when we also know that offensively we are really, really good when we play smaller. And so there's a balance for me, and trying to figure out that part of our team here as we go down over the last 6, and then hopefully be ready, for a final situation.
Obviously, you got the Phoenix next week in a game that could really shape who gets that top spot. Obviously, you don't want to look too far past Brisbane, but how do you approach next week?
Well, I'll be honest with you right here. I don't approach next week right now, because this is, you've heard me say, it's really 1/33 of our year. Now, the most important thing for my group right now is the next game. And once we go up there and we get ready to play Brisbane, and then whatever that result is will then dictate a lot of different things after that. But, it's important for us to play well at home. It's like every team, everybody plays well at home. There's extra energy. We love the Adelaide Entertainment Center. Our fans are super, and they're supportive, and they haven't seen us play for a while. We haven't had a home game for a minute, so that'll be a different level. John has not played a home game yet. He'll have, he's been in Adelaide a few days, maybe 3, Again, he played in a game for Adelaide before he was ever in the city. There's a lot of different things there. But we'll approach that with the proper respect to Southeast and who they are, when we get to that point next week.
I wanted to also ask you, Mike, just about the culture piece, which
Yeah.
I think was important tonight. There were times where it looked like you guys were going to let go of the rope, but they never ever did.
Yeah.
The way this team has evolved in your 2 years, that's got to be incredibly pleasing for you, especially in a game like this, environment like that, and they fought it out to the end. I mean, it's a 5-point ball game.
Yeah.
All said and done.
Yeah, I'll give you a long answer on that one. But, I felt like when I came over here as an assistant coach, I came with the idea that the Adelaide organization was doing everything at a high level with multiple sellouts, their corporate sales, how the organization is run and handled. And it was like, okay, can I help the basketball side? And can Matt Weston and I figure this thing out and just help get it right? And as we went through last year, I got to learn a whole lot about this league and how difficult it is. And I had a ton of respect for the league. I had some people with the NBA that came to me and said, if you want a different experience, go to the NBL. Like, go to the NBL. Don't worry about other leagues. Go there. It was highly recommended, and that's why I kind of dove in with Adelaide when the opportunity was presented. And, sitting with Grant and Nick and Matt and myself after last season, was really one of the highlights of my coaching career to sort of sit there and put everything on the table and say, how can we get the basketball side to match the rest of the organization and get everything up to a standard of winning and what the people in Adelaide not only expect, but they deserve, because they come out and they pay the ticket prices, and our corporate sponsors are amazing and our people are amazing. And, they support us so well that, it's just been this really, really interesting journey for me as a head coach, learning to be a head coach. I don't have 6,000 games under my belt as a head coach, but I have over 2,400 NBA games as an assistant in 26 seasons. So it's different to be a head coach than an assistant, where you get to make a lot of suggestions. Now you get to make some decisions during the basketball game. To sit with Grant and Nick and Matt and kind of try to throw all the chips on the table and figure out if the puzzle can work. So far, it's been a labor of love, and we're excited about where we're at. And I think that, we still have these other levels that we can go to, where everybody else is saying, hey, Southeast is this, Sydney's this, Sydney's this. All I can do is focus on my group and try to make sure that we are peaking and we are going to be the best version of ourselves at the end of the season, and hopefully that's good enough. That's what I can control. I think the teams at the top of the ladder are the teams that have been the healthiest. It was that way last year in my first year. It's that way this year because it's such a rugged, physical, hard playing. There's no gimmies. I love the style of play. I mean, I'm over there talking to the officials all the time, begging for calls, but I actually love it because I love the competition and the toughness and the physicality and the way guys just bring it. So, our focus will be to do everything we can that we're as healthy as we possibly can, and hopefully, be ready for, I would like for my group to play in the Ignite Cup Championship. That's an important goal for me, to be in that kind of game. And that will be a big game up in Brisbane on Wednesday night, or at the Gold Coast against Brisbane on Wednesday night. We would like to be there. I think that's a really interesting next step for us. And then, see where we are going into the finals. And, I would love to finish at the top of the ladder, but it's my focus to make sure that we are the best version of ourselves and we're ready to play and compete.
And just quickly, finally, fifth largest crowd in NBL history tonight, or this afternoon. The pink hoops and just everything around it, just from the road team perspective and you, what was it like to be a part of that?
Well, it's such an important cause and awareness, and our full support. I just love playing in this arena with a full crowd. I wanted my guys to enjoy this competitive environment and playing like a big game in front of a big crowd. And it was probably part of why the first half went the way it went. There was a lot of emotion out there. You could feel it, and it probably sped us up in a negative way. And then when we settled into the game, we were pretty good. But we're all of support, and it was just important for us to be in the game. And we tried to play well, and we tried to do the right things. And I love the way my group competed to the end, and we finished strong.
Pikey?
Nothing from me, Mike. I'll let you go, but I'm sure I'll speak to you Wednesday.
Okay, are you sure? I mean, I'm getting used to you being in the box. Come on.
I'm sure you've certainly sat there long enough already.
Yeah. Thanks, guys.
Okay, thanks, guys.